Hi everybody, welcome back to Bobby's Bucks, and today I'm out back shooting my bow, testing this light up Nikon, because today a nightmare happened in the stand. A good shooter buck that when he came in, I seen about 120 inches of antler at least. Maybe I got excited because I tried to film it, and if you'd like to see it here, I'll take you to the video right now. So the video is a little grainy. It's just a camera that I stick on the end of the bow right here, and I'll actually link it down in the description if you guys are interested in a lightweight camera. You know, the GoPros, they're so heavy, and you know, I like to be able to hold the bow. I like light equipment. We're just testing this out right now, making sure that everything works the way it should. Today I wanted to talk about why you may not be seeing good deer, why you may be struggling with not shooting a good buck, and we're just gonna rapid fire all these different things. So first, let's talk about stand placement, okay? There's a very good chance that you are hunting simply in the wrong place. Often when hunters are starting out, they like to sit in spots with no obstructions. They have lots of shooting space. They can see far distances. And you know, the sad truth is deer will not be walking around in those areas, except maybe some younger deer that are not good at surviving yet. So a majority of the deer are walking around in dense areas of the woods, thickets, swamps, briars. All this is security for them. So be sure to entertain moving into some thicker areas so you can see some better deer where most of them are traveling. Scent control. Now we won't go on and on. If you'd like to see more about scent control, I can put a video in the corner, but simply spraying your boots makes such a big difference. Now it doesn't make you invisible, but it makes a difference, just like camouflage, you guys. So at least spray your boots, try to wash your equipment. I like to use ozone crusher, will actually attack the molecules that they can smell. So entertain spraying your boots, washing your equipment, and going out there with the wind in your face, accessing your stand. I mostly hunt public land, and when I go in 2 hours early because the average hunter goes in about an hour to an hour and a half early. So I have to beat those guys in order to hunt those spots. We're usually all going for the same sweet spots, and you know what? The more you hunt, the more hunters you'll see going to those same spots. So be sure to go in early. I sat for 2.5 hours this morning. I got there about 5:30 and the sun didn't come up until 8. More times than not, hunters are hunting stands that are safe for them, but unsafe for the deer. And if you're hunting mature deer, you'll start to see a pattern where on those trail cameras and all your recon, you'll notice they come in on certain winds. And if you hunt those winds that are good for the buck and almost bad for you, where you can almost get busted, kind of like a crosswind, you will encounter more deer. Start changing the way you think about wind direction, and you'll start seeing more deer. You may have over-hunted the area, you may have hunted it too early. Now usually the last week of October is when the bucks really start cruising in the morning. And this time of year, the morning hunts are about 3 times as productive as the evening hunts. In the evening, it's very short. It just gets darker and darker. Often we're taking shots in low light versus in the mornings where everything's nice and bright and we can see everything. I enjoy both hunts, but morning are just better, more exciting. They're longer, they're in better light. The list goes on and on. So whatever you can do, try your best to get some good sleep so you can get up early at 4:30 or whenever you need to get up and get into your stand an hour before blue. And when I say blue, I mean a half hour before sunrise. You know, if you guys are hunting on hot days, it's good to use a water source. If you guys are hunting the evening, it's good to use a food source and set up appropriately. Ambush the deer on the way to that food source in the evening. In the morning, you're ambushing the deer on the way to the bedding. It's not only a stand placement at the appropriate time with the appropriate wind direction, with the appropriate access, but it's also food and water. So know when to hunt water, know when to hunt food, and be sure to hunt food on the corner or the area where the deer can access that food where they feel safe. You know, sometimes folks have one spot to hunt, and it's really easy to overhunt that area. It's just too much pressure, human scent. They can smell you even when you're not there. It's almost like you're leaving scent stickers, the scratch and sniffs, where basically the deer can smell everything that you brushed up against. Even when you've tried your best to treat your equipment and be as scent-free as possible, it doesn't eliminate or make you invisible. So be sure, of course, to try your best to spray your boots, but what is happening is instead of that deer thinking you were just there, it's a lesser scent than if you were to not spray a scent elimination. So what it means is maybe the deer thought you were there a few days ago rather than today, and it's less pressure that you're applying. And if you only have one property, what I would recommend is either entertain the idea of finding some public land near you to hunt, to maybe relieve some of that pressure, or reach out, network to your friends and family, see if there's anybody that has land or gardens or crops. They will jump at the opportunity to have a hunter eradicate those deer. So just try to communicate with everyone. Maybe you can find another property, or public land is always an excellent opportunity to relieve some of that pressure on that one hunting location. And when you overhunt a property, what happens is the daytime movement turns into nighttime movement or neighbor property movement. So they will only move on that property when it's dark or when they're secure. And maybe you're getting out of the stand a little too early. This time of year, there's a lot of afternoon movement. The deer are moving 5 times a day, but this time of year, remember, their night is our day and our day is their night. But what they're doing is staying up all night, which is during the day, chasing does, trying to breed. These bucks are not eating as much as they used to. That's why they lose a lot of weight during this rut. Some of them even die because they're overexerting themselves. So be sure to stay in your stand. Today I was in there 5:30 and I left at 11:30. It was a long sit, but I seen 2 good bucks. I seen a doe walk by me. I mean, it wasn't a huge day, but I had an excellent opportunity at a buck. And sometimes it's only a couple bucks. Sometimes it's over a dozen. So here in Michigan, that's pretty much about what we see on public land. You know, I talk to other hunters and they're going into their best spots, their best stands, and they're burning them out before it really is productive. You know, right around the last few days of October is when the bucks really start moving in the morning. And sometimes if you get a cold snap, they'll move earlier than that. And you can run trail cameras and you'll know just by doing recon the previous years, because bucks will move the same time of year every year, not to mention with the same weather and the same wind. So do your research and you'll know based on that when to hunt your locations. Also, be prepared for afternoon hunts. Here, for whatever reason, bucks love to run our property right around midday, noon, 1 o'clock. In the past, we've had lots of movement. And if you pull those cameras on a windy day, be sure to spray your boots, maybe ride a bike. I like to use my e-bike when I collect my SD cards. You don't really put down as much scent. It's nice and quick. If you guys don't have any food on your property, I mean, it could be just seasonal too, because clover this time of year is all dried up. As soon as it gets cold, maybe they've moved on to something else like brassicas or something like that, because your oats, peas, and beans and clover, that stuff is gonna be slowing down now, and then they're gonna be moving on to something else. You know, in the wintertime, it's corn, brassicas, things like that. So be sure to pay attention to what kind of food you're hunting over. Also, some properties have a lot of predators, a lot of coyotes. So be sure to run your trail cameras and you get a better idea. Plus, you could find carcasses around your property. That could be the culprit. Also, hunting pressure from your neighboring properties. Somebody at work just told me that they had a poacher on the other side of their field walking out of this trailer park following this 12-point buck that was a target buck that they were trying to hunt. I mean, talk about a nightmare, you know, and this person is trespassing. They know they're trespassing because they're the only one allowed to hunt that property. So they watched him shoot this giant buck and then walk away in the evening. So you have to look out for neighboring properties and neighboring hunters too. A terrific way to combat that is spend your postseason hinge cutting and building a barrier of thickets all the way around your property, and this sometimes takes years. So the only thing that can get through those barriers are the animals that we're hunting. But I wait for opportunities like rain. I wait for midday. Early season, we have our trail cameras on watering holes, apple trees, food sources, and then once the bucks start scraping and laying out more of their scent, then we'll move them onto scrapes and we'll move them into the runways and the filters and the transition points, bottlenecks, things like that, where they're running and chasing does. But be careful not to check those too much because you can apply too much pressure. So this time of year, the bucks are chasing does. So wherever the does are, the bucks will be found. So if your property doesn't have a lot of does, then they simply could be chasing does across the street or on a neighboring property. I backtracked this trail and I seen that a gigantic oak that had about 3 limbs went down. Maybe things have changed, that's why the deer are traveling the way they are. And sometimes those trees that go down could be a terrific acorn source, for example. So maybe that's why these deer aren't coming in the evening to feed on that tree anymore. Maybe that's why you're not seeing deer. It's important that you know when the chasing phase is, because in the south and in the north, these are different. So you could be trying to hunt the rut before or after it actually happens. There's folks that follow people, say down in Kansas or Georgia even, when they're from Michigan. Be sure to check out that rut video like I talked about, and we go over the exact dates. And the good news is it happens at the same time every year. You know, there's folks that pay attention to the moon. I would not let the moon phases affect you. I mean, if you're able to go hunt, go hunt. I would always put more stock in scent control, stealth, and access than I would the moon. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope you guys shoot a deer that you're proud of. So be sure to get out there, guys, because the chasing is on. These first few days of November, guys, they're gonna be running all over. Pretty soon it's locked down towards the end of the week, and all the does will be getting bred. All the bucks are locked down with the doe in a secure area, somewhere where they're breeding and they're not being bothered.